Jackie?
They're the images seared on the memories of those who faced them. Residents and firefighters driving through an inferno that swept through the town of Gatlinburg, Tennessee 3 years ago this fall. 14 people died in the wind-driven fire, 134 others were hurt, and 2,400 structures were lost due to the fast-moving fire. What fueled that deadly inferno? Well, the fall of 2016 was the height of a drought that started in March of that year, and helping to build the intensity of that drought was warmer than average temperatures.
Now, just 3 years later, the parallels are eerie. Unseasonable, record-busting heat has gripped the region for what feels like weeks, and drought is really growing across much of the southeast.
And in light of those parallels, we want to bring in Andrew Joyner. He's an assistant professor of geosciences with East Tennessee State University. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Hey, thank you.
So how concerned are you right now by both the warmth and the dry conditions that we're seeing?
It's definitely a concern. Just about a month ago, looking at the drought monitor, most of the state of Tennessee was not experiencing any significant drought. And we've rapidly kind of deteriorated into various levels of drought across the state, certainly here in East Tennessee, but most of the state is now in some level of drought, according to that drought monitor. So we're pretty concerned about that rapid shift from having a lot of rain earlier in the year to now very little rain.
And Andrew, how different is this year's soil moisture situation compared to what we were seeing at the last event in eastern Tennessee?
Currently, soil moisture is still higher than it was then, but these conditions with the amount of heat that we're seeing 15 to 20 degrees above average for most of the state. Those soil moisture levels are certainly going down. And it's definitely something to be concerned about. As we saw with the Gatlinburg fires in the lead up to that, we had a rapid intensification of drought that was partially caused or increased by the high temperatures.
So what steps have been taken since that time to reduce the risk of fires this fall? Is there anything that can even be done?
A lot of it is awareness, and so public awareness of when we're in these types of drought conditions, what the weather patterns are. Gatlinburg was certainly a unique case with the really high wind events that occurred while there were wildfires going on that really helped spread that wildfire more rapidly than really we had seen in that area before. And so really awareness of don't burn today or this month, or as we have these burn warnings coming up or burn bans coming up in different counties and cities across the state, really pay attention to those and be really careful with fires outdoors. A lot of these fires are usually accidentally caused by humans.
And well, you mentioned the strong winds. One ingredient missing right now are those strong winds that helped spread that fire a few years back in Gatlinburg. What precautions have been taken to ease that threat?
Well, there's not really much you can do about a pattern like that. Just hope for the best and hope we don't have that exact setup again. However, there are other things that have been done, certainly in Sevier County in the Gatlinburg area. For the emergency managers there, we've actually worked with them a good bit over the past year on their mitigation planning and looking at different ways for them to deal with the wildland-urban interface and various communities. It's a beautiful area there. A lot of chalets and houses are in the woods, and that's where they want to be, but that's a high-risk area where they're located. And so cleaning brush up, getting that type of thing away from your home can really help. And of course, just being aware of the situation and knowing what's going on around you. And they've done a fantastic job down there, really mitigating. You can't fully mitigate for that, but really trying to mitigate for something in the future where it doesn't have as big of an impact, and certainly not as big of a loss of life.
We only have a few seconds left, but has the area bounced back? How long does it take to recover from something like that, just in terms of forestry?
Some areas have bounced back, but the actual vegetation, it will take quite a while. I mean, many years, maybe even decades in some locations where larger trees were burned, and there have been landslides as well and mudslides. That kind of thing takes quite a while to recover from. But much of the area has bounced back largely, especially the touristy areas. They are looking much better.
All right. Thank you so much, Andrew Joyner, an assistant professor of geosciences at East Tennessee State University. Very interesting to see some of the similarities and what was different. We didn't have the winds, but that's not to say we won't get an increase in wind down the road, and the drought's going to persist.
That's right.